Hello friends, I welcome you all on my YouTube channel. Myself Praveen Pathak. I am a chemical engineer and have done the industrial safety course. So I am discussing the various lectures on the basics of industrial safety. Under this title, I have divided the lectures in different fields, that is legislation, construction, environment, etc. So under the legislation title, I have discussed about the Factory Act 1948 in the previous lecture, and now I am going to discuss the important sections and rules under the Factory Act 1948 and Maharashtra Factory Rule 1963. So, the basic rule you have to follow for this lecture is the blue color clearly indicates the sections for the Factory Act 1948. So I have intentionally put the blue color for the Factory Act 1948 and a green color for the Maharashtra Factory Rule 1963. So when I am saying the sections, it means the elements which are involved in the Factory Act 1948. And when I am saying the rule, it means it is related to the Maharashtra Factory Rule 1963 for this lecture only, because rule may be a different one. Calcium carbide rule may be there, or gas cylinder rule may be there. There are different types of rules also there, but for this lecture I am comparing only the sections and the rules. So the rule is for Maharashtra Factory Rule 1963 and section for the Factory Act 1948. Now the Factory Act contains 11 chapters, 120 sections and 4 schedules. So these things are already discussed in the previous video. And the Maharashtra Factory Rule 1963 includes 126 rules and 32 forms. So we will discuss some of the important sections from the Factory Act 1948 and some of the important rules from the Maharashtra Factory Rule 1963, because it is very difficult task to discuss all the 120 sections of Factory Act 1948, 4 schedules and all the 126 rules from the Maharashtra Factory Rule 1963 and 32 forms in a single lecture. So it is very difficult task. So I have included some of the important section from my point of view, and we are going to discuss one by one some sections and rules. So section 2CB is there. So section 2CB gives us the idea about the hazardous process. So what is hazardous process? It is related to the first schedule of Factory Act 1948, where unless special care is taken, raw materials, intermediates, finished products, byproducts, waste product or effluents would, first point, cause material impairment to health, and second point, result in pollution for general environment. So the material may be raw material, may be intermediate, may be final product, may be byproduct, may be waste or effluent. If the material causes impairment to the health or which may result in the pollution of general environment, then it is called as hazardous process, and this definition is given under the section 2CB of Factory Act. Now section 7A, this focuses on the duties of occupier. So we already know what is meant by occupier. The person who is having 100% control on the factory is called as occupier. So every occupier shall ensure health, safety and welfare of all workers. Provisions and matters to which such duty extends shall include. What are the duties of occupier? Provisions and maintenance of plant and systems of work are safe and without risk to health. So it is the duty of occupier to give or provide some facilities or the provisions and maintenance which clearly maintains that the system is safe for the work and it is without risk to the health. Then arrangement of ensuring safety in connection with use, handling, storage and transport of articles and substances. So the instruments, equipments, etc. are nothing but the articles of that industry. So all these articles and some substances, that may be raw material, chemical substances, etc. So all these articles and substances should be safe to handle, to use or to store or to transport. So this arrangement should be done by the occupier. This is another duty of occupier. Provisions of information, instruction, training and supervision are necessary to ensure health and safety of all workers. So to ensure health and safety of all workers, occupier should provide information, instruction, training and supervision. Provision and maintenance of all places of work and means of access and egress from such places are safe and without risk. So entrance and exit should be safe in all places of industry or factory. That is the another duty of occupier. Provision, maintenance or monitoring of such environment for the workers that is safe and without risk to health. So the workers environment means workplace. So that workplace also should be safe and without risk to health. That is another duty of occupier. And he should prepare a policy with respect to safety, health and environment. So this is another legal duty of occupier, to prepare a policy and also to publish this policy on various platforms. So these are the duties of occupier given under the section 7A. Now what section 7B suggests? The duties of manufacturer as regards to articles. So articles shall include plant and machinery. Every person who design, manufactures, imports or supplies any article for use, it is so designed, constructed, tested and examined as to be safe and without risk to health of worker. So all these articles, it means plant and machinery, should be safe and without risk to the health of the worker. So we have to design, construct and testing should be done in that way that it should be safe and without risk. If article is imported, should confirm the Indian standards of manufacture. So we have to follow the IS standard rule so that risk should be minimized and that risk should be going to zero or at the minimum level. So under the section 41B, compulsory disclosure of information. So what this section tells us? The occupier of every factory involving a hazardous process shall. It means the focus of this disclosure of information should be for the hazardous process mainly. So where the hazardous process are there, and what is hazardous process? It is given under the section 2CB, right? So where the hazardous process are present, for this shall disclose the information regarding danger, including health hazards and the measures to overcome such hazards arising from the exposure to or handling of the material in the manufacture, transportation, storage and other processes to all. So that danger from the material, from the handling, from the manufacturing process, from the transportation, whatever it may be. So that danger should be disclosed and that information should be disclosed. So that is nothing but the compulsory disclosure of information. That is one point. Lay down a detailed policy with respect of health and safety of the workers and intimate to chief inspector and local authority. So that is another part. That this policy, this detailed policy, including dangers, should be intimate to the chief inspector and local authority. Accurate information as to the quantity, specification and other characteristics of waste and their disposal with the approval of chief inspector drop an on-site emergency plan and disaster control measures and make known to the workers and public. So if you know the dangers in the hazardous process, if you know the waste material, that raw material, final product, etc., with quantity. So some materials may be in terms of milligrams, grams, some may be in terms of ppm, mg per meter cube, and some materials may be in terms of tons or thousands of liters or meter cube. So that quantity is also important. So for facing or to reduce the risk, on-site emergency plan should be prepared. Disaster control plan should be prepared, and that should be disclosed to the workers and public. What exactly our or how the plan works. So on-site emergency plan and disaster control plan should be given to the workers and public. Inform Chief Inspector nature and details of the process, penalty for contravention, license cancellation, etc. Lay down measures of handling, uses, transportation, storage and disposal of hazardous substance with previous approval of Chief Inspector. So you have to give all the information related to the handling, usage, transportation, storage, etc. of hazardous substances to the Chief Inspector, and previous approval should be given by the Chief Inspector. And these are the points under the compulsory disclosure of information under section 41B. So the section 41B is important as per as the Factory Act 1948 is concerned, that is disclosure of information. So this is section, it means it is a part of Factory Act, and Factory Act is nothing but the central government or central level legislations. So under this central level legislations, there are some rules which are made by the state government. So for example, Maharashtra state is there. So Maharashtra state government made the rules, and that is called as MFR 1963. So under the guidance of section 41B of Factory Act, so following rules are made. So sections and Factory Act is a general guidelines by the central government, and rules are nothing but the detailed information from that particular section, from that guideline given by the central government to implement and execute in the state. So that is why it is called as rule. So for example, under section 41B, 73L Health and Safety Policy Rule, 73M Collection and Development of Dissemination of Information, that is MSDS Material Safety Data Sheet, 73N Disclosure of Information to Worker, 73O Disclosure of Information to General Public, 73P Disclosure of Information to Local Authority, 73Q Disclosure of Information to District Authority, 73R Disclosure of Information to Chief Inspector. So these are the different rules under the Maharashtra Factory Rule 1963, and guidelines are given under the section 41B of Factory Act. So what exactly the 73L? Occupier of every factory except all factories, first point covered under section 2MI but less than 50 employees. Point 2 covered under section 2MI 2, provided that they are not covered in first schedule under section 2CB and not carrying dangerous operations under section 87, shall prepare a return statement of his policy. So all the hazardous processes, danger operations, etc., all maximum industries should prepare health and safety policy under the rule 73L. Now MSDS means Material Safety Data Sheet. The occupier of every factory carrying on a hazardous process shall arrange to obtain or develop information in the form of MSDS in respect of every hazardous substance or material handled in the manufacture, transportation and storage in the factory. So all the hazardous process, all the hazardous substances must have MSDS. Generally MSDS is given by the manufacturer. If it is not done, then we have to prepare this MSDS for that particular substance, and that MSDS should be converted in the local language to understand by the workers or helpers. It shall be accessible upon request to worker for the reference. So to before handling that substance, worker must know the material safety data sheet of that substance. In the 73N rule, disclosure of information to worker. Now the general guideline is disclosure of information under the section 41B. But for this, for worker information should be disclosed, that is given under the 73N. Occupier shall supply to worker information in relation to the handling hazardous process substances, manufacturing, transportation, storage and process. Requirement of section 41B, 41C and 41H. So these 41B, 41C, 41H are the guidelines or the sections involved under the Fact Act 1948. So with the help of these references and guidelines, this disclosure of information to worker should be prepared in the state. The list of hazardous process, location, availability of MSDS, physical health hazard, measures taken, use of PPE, measures to be taken by worker to ensure safe handling of hazardous substance, and in case of any leakage or spillage, role of worker in emergency plan. So these are the rules given under 73N. So next rule is 73O, disclosure of information again, but it is to general public. In the previous case, disclosure of information to worker. Now this is disclosure of information to general public. Occupier shall, in consultation with the district emergency authority, take steps to provide information, approval of factory from inspector and state pollution control board, explanation of hazardous process and hazardous substances, and measures taken to minimize the risk of accidents. So what are the measures taken to minimize the risk of accident? That should be explained in detail for public. Salient features like disaster control measures should be explained in detail to public. Emergency warning system, what are the emergency warning systems are there, what action should be taken by the industry, taken by the public, that should be explained under the rule 73O. Then rule number 73P, disclosure of information to local authority. Now in the previous case, that should be general public. In that previous case, that is for worker. Now it is to local authority. The occupier of every factory carrying on hazardous process shall furnish following information in writing. The information furnished to general public as prescribed in rule number 73O. A statement of the means and quantities generally stored in a process or hazardous process. So the important thing is the names of the hazardous substances, the processes and the quantities of that hazardous substances should be mentioned, and that should be submitted to the local authority. 73Q rule, disclosure of information, it is to district emergency authority, right? So occupier of a factory carrying hazardous process shall furnish following information: preparation of on-site emergency plan, so that should be submitted to the district emergency authority. Disaster control plan, management plan, that should be submitted to the district emergency authority. Report of risk and environment impact assessment, measures taken for prevention of accidents. Then compilation of MSDS of hazardous substance used, produced and stored in a factory, that all information should be given to the district emergency authority under rule 73Q. Statement on sources, facilities available for dealing with the emergencies. In case if emergency happens, or in the case of emergency situation, what should be done, how it should be controlled, and what are the measures to be taken, that should all information should be given to the district emergency authority. A map of the area showing approaches to the factory and the locations. So for example, entry gate, exit gate, material gate, assembly points, etc. So all should be included in the map as a locations. Then some hospitals, then police station, nearby fire services, who can help us, etc. all should be given in the map and should be submitted to the district emergency authority. A statement on resources of accidents involving fire, explosion, release, leakage of toxic substances. Information regarding organization of management, responsibility of safety, antidotes for poisoning, persons responsible for on-site plan, alert system, etc. So who is going to control in case of emergency? What antidotes are available for poisoning cases? What safety measures should be taken? What alarm systems are available in the premises? All information should be given to the district emergency authority. Then 73R, disclosure of information to chief inspector. Occupier of every factory carrying an hazardous process shall furnish in writing a copy of all information furnished to workers, local authority, general public and district emergency authority. So whatever the rules before this 73R, all should be taken care, that should be written, and that written format should be submitted to the chief inspector, that the occupier has given all the information related to the hazardous substances, hazardous processes to the worker, to the local authority, to general public, to district emergency authority, etc. A copy of compilation of MSDS in respect of hazardous substance used, produced or stored in the factory, that all information regarding the substances and MSDS with respective substances should be submitted to the chief inspector. 73S rule focuses on the information on industrial waste. So information in rule 73 N, O, Q and R shall include the quantity. So already I have mentioned in terms of maybe kg, maybe tons, maybe meter cube, maybe liter, etc. The quantity of solid and liquid waste generated per day, their characteristics, the characteristics maybe pH, acidity, alkalinity, BOD, COD, DO, etc. And method of treatment such as incineration of solid waste, chemical and biological treatment of liquid waste, and arrangement for their final disposals. So all this information should be given on industrial waste. Information on quantity of gaseous waste and provision of arrangements such as scrubber system, cyclone separators, electrostatic precipitors for control of pollution of the environment. So the treatment for solid and liquid industrial waste is different, and treatment for the gaseous waste is different. So all this information should be known to everyone, including all the workers. Then 73 rule focuses on the review of the information furnished to the workers. The occupier shall review once in every calendar year and modify if necessary the information furnished under rule 73N and 73R. Suppose for example, in case your process is modified, in case your raw material is changed, then the characteristics or the properties of that particular substance or that the equipment is changing now. If the process is changed, if the substances are changing, if the alternatives are find out, then you have to review the information again, and all the latest or updated information should be submitted to the respective officers or that offices. In the event of any change in the process of operation or methods or work, when any new substance introduced in the process or in the event of a serious accident taking place, information so furnished shall be reviewed and modified. Then rule 73U is regarding the confidentiality of the information. So the occupier shall disclose all information. In the previous cases, if you see the 73 OPQRS, the rules are saying that all the information should be disclosed to the worker, to the general public, to the disaster manager, etc., to all the concerns, including local authority, police station, hospital, etc. But now this 73 U is saying a little bit different thing. The occupier shall disclose all information needed for protecting safety and health of workers. So it does not mean that you should disclose all the information which is related to your R&D activity, related to the processes, related to the concentrations or the ingredients of all the products. So it should not be. The focus is only on the safety and health of workers. So to protect the workers, to protect the health of workers, to reduce the risk of that workers, that information should be disclosed only. So all other information can't be disclosed to all the public. That is nothing but the confidentiality of the information. So if the occupier is of the opinion that the disclosure of details regarding the process and formulation will adversely affect his business and interest, he may make a representation to the chief inspector. So, especially when pharmaceutical or food industries are there, that industries are always saying that our formula is should be confident, otherwise some other person or industry are going to copy for that. So it is harmful for their business. So all these things can be conveyed to the chief inspector in the written format. Now it is section 41C. Now it is section, so it is related to the Factory Act 1948 and it is in blue color. So specific responsibility of occupier in relation to the hazardous process. So it is focuses on the health, right? So specific responsibility of occupier in relation to the hazardous process. So we have already discussed the duties of occupier, responsibilities of occupier, hazardous process, etc. But now it is focuses on the health point of view. Every occupier shall maintain an accurate and up to date health records of workers who are exposed to chemical, toxic chemicals, harmful substances, and shall be accessible to the workers. So the point is focuses on the health records of the workers who are exposed to the chemical or toxic chemicals. Appoint qualified and experienced competent person to supervise handling hazardous substances. So someone competent or expert person should be there who is qualified and experienced in that field, that is related to the chemical or that toxic chemicals. Provide for medical examination of worker before assignment of job and after and once in a year. So normally most of the companies are following these practices that before joining there is a medical examination, then during the job and after the job or resignation or retirement, or for the routine process it should be at least once in a year. So the medical examination record should be kept ready for any inspection or audit. Now it is rule 73. So it is related to the MFR 1963. Now the guidelines are given in the previous section, that is 41C. Now it is focuses rule 73V on health again, that is one part medical examination. So in the previous slide that guidelines are given that medical examination should be there, right? Now the detailing is in the rule 73V. Workers employed in a hazardous process shall be medically examined by factory medical officer once before employment to a certain physical fitness, once in a period of 6 months to a certain health and status. Detail of pre-employment periodical medical exam shall be recorded in the health register in form 7. No person shall be employed for the first time without certificate of fitness. So now detailing is given in the rule. Guidelines are given under the section. So certificate of fitness is necessary. Then recording of the medical exam is necessary under the health register in a prescribed form. So all these activities should be done under the rule 73V. 73W is again focusing on the health, but the focus is on the OHC, that is Occupational Health Center. So in respect of any factory carrying on hazardous process, there shall be provided and maintained in good order OHC, that is Occupational Health Center, with services and facilities. So appointment of FMO, that is Factory Medical Officer, persons trained in first aid procedures, nurse and qualified and trained dressers, come compounder, provisions of fully equipped first aid box. Qualification of FMO, degree in Indian Medical Council with diploma in industrial health or training in the same minimum 3 months should be compulsory. So what are the conditions for FMO? what requirement should be there under the OHC center, everything is given under the rule 73W. Then 73X focuses on the ambulance van. It is again a health part. We are discussing all these rules under the section 41C, that is of health. Now the rule 73X focuses on the ambulance van. In the factory carrying on hazardous process, there should be provided maintain ambulance van equipped with items, safety equipments, emergency care equipment, immobilization, dressings, poisoning, emergency medicines, etc. and maintained by the helper trainer in first aid. The van should not be used for other purpose and station near to OHC. So these ambulance vans should not use for other purpose other than health purpose, and the equipment should be the equipment should be present there in the ambulance. So factory employing less than 200 workers may make alternative arrangement. So ambulance van arrangement with reference to 73X is necessary, mandatory for the factories where 200 workers are there or 200 plus workers are there. So if the factory are having less than 200 workers, then it is optional. That ambulance van should be there is a optional case. You can make alternative arrangement for the ambulance van. Rule 73Y focuses on the decontamination facilities. So in every factory carrying a hazardous process, following provisions should be there to meet the emergencies. Fully equipped with first aid box. So every factory must have first aid box, and readily accessible means for drenching with water for flooding persons who have been contaminated with the hazardous and corrosive substances. A table of number of drenching showers against number of worker is given. Provision of sufficient number of eye wash bottles in boxes. So all these detailing are given in the 73Y, but the focus is that first aid box should be there, drenching facility should be there, eye wash bottle should be present for the decontamination. Then 73Z rule is focusing on the making available health records to workers. So we are maintaining the health records. Occupier's duty is to maintain the health records. Now it is the right of worker to see the health record. So making available health records to the workers. Occupier shall make accessible health records to the workers under following conditions: once in a 6 months or immediate after medical examination, whichever is earlier. In the FMO or certifying surgeon are of the opinion that worker has manifested signs and symptoms of any noticeable diseases. If any legal authority, directors, inspector, health authority of government, DG, FASLE, etc. So all these government authorities can see the health records anytime. FMO or certifying surgeon can see the health record for a specific time, and worker can check the health record immediately after the medical examination or once in a month. Now the section 45, that is Factory Act 1948. So section 45 is for first aid appliances, that is again the part of health. In every factory, first aid boxes or cupboard shall be provided and maintained so as to be readily accessible during all working hours, well equipped with prescribed contents, and shall not be less than 1 for 150 worker. So guideline is given that one first aid box should be there with prescribed contents and proper location for 150 workers. Each box shall be kept in charge of separate responsible person who holds a certificate in first aid treatment recognized by state government. So whatever the prescribed contents are available there, that medicine should be given to the proper person in appropriate condition, and that should be trained, that condition, that person should be trained who is giving these medicines to a particular worker for the conditions. So the first aid treatment recognized by state government, that certificate should be there for that trainer, first aid trainer. Then who shall always be readily available during working hours. So that trainer or first aid trainers or state government certified person should be available during working hours. Nothing except the prescribed content shall be kept in the first aid boxes or cupboards. So other than these prescribed contents, nothing should be there in the first aid box. In every factory wherein more than 500 workers are there ordinarily employed, there should be provided and maintained an ambulance room. So for 500 plus workers, ambulance room arrangement should be there. And with the ambulance room, in the ambulance room, medical and nursing staff should be there, and that is readily available during the working hours. So for more than 500 workers, ambulance van, first aid box, medical staff, nursing staff, and should be readily available during working hours. Now rule 76. So the first aid appliances we have discussed under the section 45 of Factory Act. Now detailing is given under the rule 76 of MFR 1963. The first aid boxes or cupboards shall distinctly marked with red cross on a white background and shall contain prescribed equipments like factories in which number of persons employed does not exceed 10. Factories in which number of persons exceeds 10 but does not exceed 50. Factories employing more than 50 persons, etc. Now rule 77, notice regarding the first aid. A notice containing the name of the person working with the prescriptions of the factory who are trained in a first aid treatment, who are in charge of the first aid boxes shall be posted in every factory at conspicuous place and near each box. So every worker, helper, every employee should know where the first aid box is placed and who is the in charge of that first aid box. The notice should be indicate workroom where said person shall be available, name of the nearest hospital and its telephone number should be mentioned. Under rule 78 regarding to the ambulance room. The ambulance room of dispensary shall be in charge of the qualified medical practitioner assisted by one qualified nurse and staff. A notice shall be displayed in ambulance room giving the name, address, telephone number or medical practitioner in charge and also the name of the telephone number or nearest hospital. A record of all cases, accident, sickness, treatment at the room shall be kept and produced to inspector or certifying surgeon on demand. So you can observe now the details are given under the rule and guidelines are given under the sections. Now the next section is focusing on the work permit systems. So section 36 is focuses on the precautions against dangerous fumes and gases. In some of the industries there may be dangerous fumes and gases present in the working environment. So what precautions should be taken for the dangerous fumes and gases? That is given under the section 36 of Factory Act. No person shall be allowed to enter chamber, tank, vat, pit, pipe, confined space in which any gas, fume, vapor or dust are likely to be present, unless it is provided with a manhole of adequate size or other effective means of egress, until all practice measures have been taken to remove any gas, fume, vapor or dust so as to bring its level within the permissible limits and to prevent any ingress of such gas and unless. So wherever the fumes and gases are available, if it is below the permissible levels, then you can provide some facility to ingress or egress with some PPs and some arrangements. Then a certificate writing has been given by competent person based on a test carried out by himself, that is the space is reasonably free from dangerous gas, fume, vapors or dust. Such person is wearing suitable breathing apparatus, that is generally called as self-contained breathing apparatus SCBA, and belt securely attached to a rope, the free end of which is held by a person outside the confined space. Normally it is called as attendant who is outside the confined space, and always ask the person who is inside the confined space that are you okay or not. Then under this work permit section, the rule is 73F. Fragile roof is one of the example, provision of crawling board, etc. A person shall be required to stand or pass over work on or near roof or ceiling covered under the fragile material like AC sheets through which he is liable to fall in case of it breaks a distance of more than 3 meters unless first suitable ladder, duck ladder or crawling board securely supported are provided. So it is a must condition. Nowadays we are using crawling boards to crawl to pass that point on the fragile roof. A permit to work. So it is a legal requirement again. So for working at height, we have to take the permit for work. Permit to work on fragile roof is issued to him each time by a responsible person. So it is not the case that you have taken the permission through for a whole day. So that supervisor or the authority should be may check continuously whether the conditions are safe or not. Then under 73C, safety measures where equipment or pipeline containing inflammable materials are operated. Where work of opening above equipment is to be carried out, following provisions shall be complied with. System of work permit shall be introduced. No person allowed to enter or open the equipment unless it is certified to be free from inflammable gas or liquid. So work permit is again there. Then work shall not commence unless operations are carried out and checked by the supervisor in charge of the process department of the factory. Then blanking operation. Equipment shall be effectively blank so as to ensure that no inflammable gas or liquid can enter the same under any circumstances during operations of repairs and maintenance. So only closing of wall is not sufficient. Blank, that is metal part, should be enclosed in the pipe. So that blanking operation ensures that so the gases can't be move from one point to another. Flushing operations. Supervisor of process department shall carry out steaming or flushing out with water of the equipment to ensure that inflammable material is removed from the equipment or pipeline. Process supervisor will check and certify above operations. So process supervisor will check all these activities and give the certificate as a work permit. The supervisor of engineering department shall satisfy the above operations are complete and then sign the work permit issued by the supervisor. It is joint responsibility of supervisor to check and ensure that hot lines are properly screened. Specific entry of the operations shall be signed by both the supervisors. Now the section 41D is focuses on the power of central government to appoint the inquiry committee. So central government is having power to appoint inquiry committee for the specific case, for the accident cases, for the safety purpose, whatever it may be. So central government is having power to appoint the inquiry committee. Now 41E section focuses on the emergency standards. So central government is giving the guidelines for some standards, but for the no hazardous process, no standards of safety have been prescribed in the hazardous process. Where standards prescribed are inadequate, it may be director or director general general factory of advice service and labor institute, that is DG Fastly, to lay down emergency standards. So in case of the emergency standards for hazardous process is inadequate, then DG Fastly can guide you. Then 41F, permissible limits of exposure of chemical and toxic substances. So we have already discussed in case if chemical and toxic substances are there in the working environment, then that within the permissible limits that chemical and toxic substances should be there. So maximum permissible threshold limit for this chemical and toxic chemical is given under the schedule 2 and under the section 41F. So 41G section focuses on the workers' participation in safety management, that is safety committee. So all workers should know their safety. Their right is to have the knowledge about the substances handling, to knowledge about the minimize the risk and should be work in the comfortable environment. So health point of view, it is important that workers participation must be there in the safety committee meetings. So in the safety committee itself, it is a legal requirement that workers representative should be there as a safety committee member to reduce the risk. Then with under the guideline of this 41G section, so rule number 73J is there, that is focuses on the safety committee. So where 250 or more than 250 workers are there, where dangerous operations are there under section 487, and employs more than 50 workers, or which carries hazardous process, which is defined under section 2CB with 50 workers. So if the factory is general, then 250 worker is the limit. Then if the operations are danger or the processes are hazardous, then for minimum 50 workers there should be a safety committee. So this is the mandatory requirement for the safety committee. In the safety committee, chairman is a senior official, secretary is safety officer, tenure 2 years, meet once in 3 months, representatives each from production, maintenance, purchase and worker. Then section 41H is focused on the right of workers to warn about imminent dangers. So the it is workers' right to know about the imminent danger which is available in the industry or factory. So it is mainly again related to the hazardous process and the dangerous operations. If there is some danger, then it is workers' right to know about the imminent danger. Then section 111 focuses on the obligation of workers. So no worker in factory shall willfully interfere with or misuse or neglect to make use of any appliances, convenience or other things provided in the factory for the purpose of security, health, safety and welfare of the workers. So nowadays the awareness is increases, that is why most of the companies are focusing on the SHE aspects, and sometimes it happens that some workers are misuse the rules and regulations or the facilities provided for them. So willfully and without reasonable cause do anything likely to endanger himself or others. If workers contravenes any provisions, punishable with imprisonment of 3 months or fine of 100 or both. So in case of any misuse or neglection, then punishment of imprisonment or fine is also there under section 111. So under 111A, right of worker, every worker shall have the right to obtain the information from occupier regarding the health and safety, get trained within the factory or to get himself sponsored by the factory. If some of the workers or employees are not trained or not experts in a particular process, then it is a worker's right to have that training from the factory, within the factory or sponsored by the factory, but that should be trained by a good training institute or the approved institute. Now these are the different sections and rules under the Factory Act and Maharashtra Factory Rules. Now up till now whatever we have discussed in a separate way. Some that is with in the particular side or in all the sites I have mentioned a particular section or a particular rule only. But I recommend you that you should go in detail, that is you should read all the 120 sections and 4 schedule of Factory Act 1948. You should read all the 126 rules of Maharashtra Factory Rules and contents of 32 forms, and then you should start to prepare yourself that which section is related to which rules or which rules are made under the particular section. So I have given some of the example, just go through it, but you should prepare on your own. For example, standards of lighting. So this is the guideline given by the section 17 and rule 35 is prepared for that standards of lighting. So in this example, 50 lux, 100 lux, 200 lux, 300 lux, 1000 lux. These are the guidelines given by the section as well as rule. So for that particular warehouses, boiler room, etc., so that should be the minimum illumination or the lux requirement. So this is one of the example where the common title is there, standards of lighting, that is means the light requirement or illumination requirement, and that is given under which section and which rule. So other examples are lifting machines, chains, ropes, section 28 and rule number 64. Then pressure plant and vessel, section 31, rule 65. Then fire protection, section 38, rule 70. Then safety measures, section 41, rule 73C. Then safety committees, already discussed, section 41, rule 73J. So here rule number 73J, but section is 41, under that 41G. So by mistakenly I have put it green color in the 41G. Then safety policy, section 7A, 41B and rule number 73L, already discussed. Then dissemination of information, that is disclosure of information, section 41B and rule number 73M. So this is one of the example of rule you can add under the section 41B. Then another example, disclosure of information, again to workers, section 41B, rule 73N. Now this is disclosure of information again, but to general public, local authority, district emergency authority, section 41B, but rule number 73O and P. Now medical examination, already discussed, section 41B, C and rule number 73. So these are the different examples where you can observe that the title is same, the contents are near about same, so you can add your answer, write your answer under this particular title or particular section or particular rule, right? So you can study on your own. I have given some of the examples, you can write your own examples and study accordingly. All the best. Thank you.